Welcome to the Media Leader Podcast. I'm Jack Benjamin. We're coming to the end of January, and from a macroeconomic perspective, it's been an absolutely wild month. The US threatened to invade Greenland and institute tariffs on European countries mobilizing to resist that effort. In Davos last week, Trump appeared to walk back some of those threats, but it's safe to say uncertainty is and will continue to be at very high levels. And uncertainty raises questions for this industry, which sits at the center of global business activity. Earlier this month, we convened our annual Year Ahead event in London. The invite-only event is always a great way to kick off the year. This year, Tom Standage, The Economist's deputy editor, gave a fantastic rundown of some of those macro factors to look out for, and we separately interviewed him afterward to ask a couple follow-up questions. And you can watch that interview on our website at uk.themedialeader.com. In addition to Tom, our content director, James Longhurst, and yours truly, took to the stage to recap some of the key themes from last year and also raise key questions we have for industry leaders in 2026. We wanted to make sure to involve the audience, so we also asked Mail Metro Media's commercial chief, Dom Williams, ThinkBox CEO, Lindsey Clay, Bauer Media Advertising MD, Simon Kilby, and World Media Group CEO, Jamie Credland, to share their predictions for the year ahead as well. This is that conversation. I hope you enjoy.
Thank you, everyone. Greg said I had about 15, 20 minutes to fill with Jack on stage. So what I thought we'd do is do Jack's appraisal, given it's January. So Jack,
all good, right?
Yeah. So it was this time last year that I think I started formally at the Media Leader. And sitting in the room again, it's such a privilege and a pleasure to work with what I think is the best, and I hope you all agree as well, is the best content and events team in media. The Media Leader continues to smash it out of the park every year. I inherited an amazing team. It continues to be an amazing team as we grow as well. So, 2026. Let's talk about that. But first of all, before we talk about 2026, we need to reflect back on 2025. End of the year, we did a load of review pieces, lots of roundups, as we usually do. Jack, what were the key themes you saw in those?
I feel like one of the key themes was consolidation. I mean, AI, of course, and there's lots of buzzwords, but really the word for me of the year was consolidation in two terms. One is M&A, and we saw quite a lot of that, and I have a whole list of names that I prepared, and we can get into that, but also consolidation in where ad spend is flowing. And we've seen that globally, and I spoke to people like Kate Scott-Dawkins from WPP Media about that. And these are long-term trends that we've seen. But yeah, in terms of M&A, I mean, I think it was the same day as this event last year that Bauer acquired Clear Channel's Europe North business. And then throughout the rest of the year, we saw Omnicom IPG, that closed. Skydance completed its merger with Paramount. Netflix is likely to acquire Warner Bros. Discovery unless Paramount tries for the seventh time, I think, and then Sky as well being in active discussions with ITV over their media and entertainment business. So big consequential moves, and we saw quite a lot of them toward the back half of the year. And the takeaway is that we're getting bigger media organizations that are being held by fewer hands.
Yep. Yeah, very much so. 2026 continues to look like the year of consolidation as well, which I'm sure we'll touch on. And we cover lots of different areas. We've got a very small team. We cover media as a massive industry. We cover lots of them. In our core areas, like what else did you see this year?
Out of home, audio, cinema, they all had strong, steady growth. Actually, cinema had quite a big year. I just talked to DCM recently, and there's an article up on the Media Leader at the moment about that. All those channels could benefit from the McKinsey predicted return to brand investment. We'll see if that actually happens next year. In TV, I felt like there was a real preparation to take on big tech and go on the offensive. Lots of infrastructure was developed last year to sort of attract small and medium-sized businesses. I feel like I said SMEs dozens of times last year. Don't make me say it anymore, please. Online publishing, I think, had a more challenging year. AI search has totally changed the game in a lot of different ways. And so some of the bigger publishers are maybe moving into AV, and smaller publishers, I think, are struggling to figure out a new business model before things are a little bit too late. It's actually quite existential for some of them. But I think the big story, as I sort of alluded to, is that a lot of the growth is being captured by just a small handful of companies, Amazon, Alphabet, Meta, ByteDance as well. And that's happened even as a lot of the platforms have failed to demonstrate a care toward user safety and content moderation. We've seen that again this week as well.
Yeah, indeed. And some people have tried to make themselves easier to buy.
Some people have I think everyone in this room has tried to make themselves easier to buy. And it's not a bad thing. It's clearly driven by a lot of demand from advertisers. So it's an exciting time to sort of, to see how that shapes out as well.
Yeah, the first person here to send me a press release with "we're going to be harder to buy next year" gets front page of the media leader as soon as that comes in. I absolutely guarantee it.
That's absolutely right, yeah.
And so, given all that last year, and this is the year ahead, keeping in mind we've got Tom coming up later, who's going to tell us what's happening in politics and geopolitics, and apparently there's quite a bit. What are the key themes and stories we should be looking at for 2026? Like, what's going to be on, Greg stole my thunder, the pages and stages of the media leader in 2026
I'm keeping my eye out for a couple of downside risks from a macro perspective. Sure. One is all the global ad spend forecasts we received toward the back end of last year were all really optimistic and positive, and I take that at their word. A lot of work goes into those. Equally, there are a lot of potential concerns around where's the economy moving? Are we in a K-shaped economy? What does it mean if consumer spending is actually a little bit more fragile, especially for this industry? As I mentioned, what does it mean for consolidation within the sort of wider media market? And something else to look at as well is frankly, if the U.S. invades, Greenland, or something absolutely crazy happens, which is apparently seeming more and more likely as the days go on, what does that mean for Europe? And what does it mean for businesses in Europe? A lot of businesses have looked at America to expand or to partner with, and what does it mean if the relationship changes on a geopolitical level? I think that's a question that no one's really asking themselves, or certainly not publicly has talked to me about it, and I think it's something that unfortunately we might have to face in 2026, but I don't want to be too dire. Another key theme, though, is trust. Consumer trust, and especially as we get into lots of AI slop and AI misinformation and that spreading all around online, but also trust between the people in this room, our agencies trusting clients and vice versa to get the best work out of each other. That's been an ongoing conversation, and especially at Advertising Who Cares did a lot of really good work around sort of polling this industry in terms of issues on principle-based media, things like that. And I expect to be writing a lot more about that next year as well. And I haven't even said AI yet. Do we want to get into that?
It's going to be big, apparently.
I think it's going to be a big topic. I think I received 10 different press releases this week from the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas. And I think they all sounded exactly the same, and there was a lot of jargon in them. So lots of AI tools that are coming out your way, and that can be really helpful in terms of increasing efficiency. I've got a couple open questions that anyone can come talk to me about. One is, what's the impact on your labor force? What's your impact on sustainability goals? AI could create a huge energy issue. I haven't heard anyone talk about this problem last year or going forward.
I think the big thing I get mocked for it, but the big thing for me is, like, what is the exam question the industry is trying to answer with AI? Are we trying to create shareholder value? Are we trying to free up people's time to do more creativity? Or, are we trying to, massively cut headcount? And I think that is going to be a conversation that's going to absolutely flow this year.
I think 2026 is the year where there needs to be some proof that there's a return on investment. There's been a lot of costs, and I'm curious to see, do these tools actually create better businesses?
And absolutely kudos to Stagwell for calling their AI tool the machine. I think that's
phenomenal.
You smashed it out of the park there. Don't give it a friendly name. Call it the machine.
I totally agree. In terms of just open questions, additionally, I could go on, but how will the new Omnicom shake up the agency landscape? User-generated content is now getting more ad revenue spent against it than professional content. What are the implications of that? We've seen some publishers move into the creator economy space this past year. I expect to see a lot more of that in 26. We're pivoting to video again. Is that a house of cards again, or is that actually something more legitimate? I think these are a lot of open questions, and is that enough? I feel like that's quite a lot to look forward to, and for me to get to work on it.
All right, well, that's enough of us. Let's find out what some of you guys think. We ran a piece earlier this week, as Greg and Steve have alluded to, where we got some predictions for some of the people in this room. So I thought it'd be really good to kind of hear from them now. Dom from Mail Metro Media, let's go to you first. Something Jack hasn't picked up on, 2026 is going to be a massive year for sport and not just for Wimbledon. You spoke to us about that. How do you see the opportunity around the World Cup, and how is it going to be different from 4 years ago?
I think slightly more positive from Jack about going forward in terms of America. Obviously very topical at the moment politically, that is obviously on the agenda. But the World Cup in the US and all the states and all the countries that's going to be appearing, it's going to be huge. It's going to be absolutely huge. And it's not just the football brands, it's on and off. And I think every single media owner here will benefit if we get the social output right, if the production, if all the video content is spot on. You know, we've got lots of journalists, lots of people have been working on the World Cup for years. It's going to be bigger. It's very, very, very political at the moment for obvious reasons. But we believe, you know, every single media channel here will benefit. Consumers will be absolutely engaged, even the time differences. So, you know, let's hope we bring it home, whatever country is supporting. But we honestly think it's going to be the biggest content on video, on social than ever before. So, yeah, it's something very, very exciting to look forward to.
Good stuff. Thank you, Dom. Lindsey, let's come to you. I'm going to give Sam some time to walk across the room. 2025, we reported a lot about UK broadcasters collaborating to take on the tech giants that we talked about, and to radical collaboration. Absolutely love that. Making TV easier to buy, picking up on that theme as well. What does the channel need to do to execute on that this year? So we heard a lot about the promise of it last year. How is TV going to fulfill that promise this year, do you think?
Well, we've got lots of plans on all those fronts. So we're steaming ahead with Lantern on measurement, and I think, well, actually, we'll start in a slightly different place, because Lantern is about outcomes measurement, which is a short-term measurement. It's trying to prove the short-term impact of TV, because that is what has dominated the industry for God knows how long. Yep. But actually, the real positive, I think, that is coming out of this year is that apparently there's going to be a return to brand building. And, you know, that's not just a sort of hopeful thing. I can say it's a prediction, because McKinsey have said it. So that means it's definitely true. And it says it's, you know, get to the top of the agenda for marketers, and that would be very encouraging if that's true, because you know, short-term performance has been an obsession with the industry, even though we know it's not the right thing for effectiveness. You know, we need a more balanced playbook than that. So it's very heartening to think that, you know, I might be returning to brand building. I think one of the most interesting quotes from last year was James Herman, who said, you know, if you market like a smaller brand, you become a smaller brand. And, you know, we don't want to become smaller brands, but TV has got to be competitive in that space. We've got to demonstrate our ability. We're absolutely fantastic we've got all sorts of adjustable and addressability options. And so, you know, we need to be competitive there. So we're absolutely determined to do that. But the best thing for effectiveness for the whole industry is that if there is more balance than there currently is.
Brilliant. Yeah, return to brand building, I think, is going to be something we can all hopefully enjoy reading about and watching happen as well. Let's go over to this side again. Simon from Bauer, one of the many Simons from Bauer. Jack mentioned the importance of trust, and you've talked a lot about that on our pages and stages again over 2025. And you said to us that you think 2026 is going to be all about valuing trusted media. Is that the case, and do you think advertisers are going to follow through on that?
Well, I mean, I love Lindsey's point around return to brand. I'd really like that. I'm going to frame this in a slightly different way and touch upon something that Jack mentioned there and spoken about. I think 2025 was, undoubtedly AI was the hottest topic. I feel certainly from a content creation and media aspect, 2026 is going to be the year that AI comes under some scrutiny. I think it moved so quickly last year, I think for everyone, that it was very difficult actually to keep pace, or maybe that was just me. But I kind of think that knowledge gap is now shrinking, and I think that's going to, in our industry, throw a light on some of the less positive aspects of AI-created content. I mean, Jack's recorded on this in the last few days, and I know, I'm going to sound like I'm bashing the platforms again, but you can't ignore the shocking story about Musk's Grok and what's happened over the last few days. And you only have to look wider for the AI slop and the rubbish that is out there, largely pushed by social media. There is no doubt that AI can have positive benefits, although you're absolutely right about what it actually means for business. But I think this year is going to be the year, and we need to act quickly about, how we make a return to trust and brand a positive experience, and what everyone in this room needs to do it, because it's left unchecked. And I kind of feel almost the most shocking part, again, in this story in the last few days, has been X's response that it's the user's responsibility to deal with it, not their responsibility to take action with Grok. So I'm hoping all of that is part of a return to trust, both for brands and consumers. And I'm obviously contractually biased to say that we do that really well at Bow across audio, out of home, and publishing.
Brilliant. Always important to get the plug in. Kind of moving on and building on the AI piece, Jamie from One Media Group, you wrote for us this week, kind of kicking off the year, talking about the themes that publishers are expected to grapple with. AI is obviously going to be a big issue for publishers. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I think echoing the points from Simon and Lindsey, trust in media is absolutely going to be the key theme for the year ahead. All the publishers, I should say, World Media Group is a coalition of 15 very high-end institutional publishers, so Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Washington Post. All of those are tackling this issue of AI in different ways. Contextual advertising and stuff, let's not talk about the advertising product, but we haven't touched on editorial challenge around this growth of AI. And I think what's really going to be interesting the year ahead is the investment that quality journalists are having to make just to avoid AI slop. So you see people reporting from war zones around the world, reporting on various things. It's very hard now to understand what's real and what's fake. So you see Reuters, some BBC Verify, CNN investing significant amounts of money into making sure that their tools are really reporting trusted news. And the reason they're doing that, of course, is both to create amazing news coverage, but also because news consumers really demand it. And while we see this growth of AI slop, the positive prediction for the year ahead is that I think consumers are starting to understand that quality journalism is expensive, time-consuming, worth spending time with. And the data point I use for that is that while many publishers have seen significant decrease in page views thanks to changes to Google search, at the more premium end, those publishers who are charging for their content and have a paid subscription model actually posted very strong results this year. So I think hopefully consumers are moving into that premium space, and let's hope advertisers follow suit, understand that actually advertising next to news is a hell of a lot safer than advertising next to AI slop.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jamie.
I feel like Jamie did my appraisal.
He did, yeah.
Gave me some help there. My job is getting harder.
Well, what I was about to say is if you want trusted news and you want quality journalism, the Media Leader is the place to come for that in the media industry. Accept no seconds. We are the place to come. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the guys for kind of taking part and joining in. I think the one theme I wanted to end on is community, and kind of not just. It's something I'm deeply passionate. It's something that whenever we take the opportunity to get this community together, whether it's at this event, whether it's our events across the year, whether it's the Future 100, our Game Changers community, the Media Leaders Club, when we do roundtables, getting people from media in a room is always fascinating, inspiring, energizing. And when we get people on our pages writing for us as well, it is really, really important. So looking across the room, I've seen so many of you on our pages and stages one more time throughout the year, and we're really looking forward to that in 2026 as well. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for kind of taking part, leaning in, and see you all throughout the year. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to the Media Leader Podcast. Our executive producer is me, Jack Benjamin. Special thanks to our production partner, Trisonic. You can find all our episodes wherever you get your podcasts or on our website at themedialeader.co.uk. But do please remember to subscribe to be notified when we release our next episode. You
can also subscribe to our newsletter at The Media Leader to receive daily coverage of all the biggest stories in media and advertising. From all of us at The Media Leader, I'm Jack Benjamin. See you next time.